I love this visual of the path to mastery. It's this visual of these long plateaus, these brief downturns, and then these quick exponential improvements.
Robinson for three, got it! Right at the buzzer! Duran is on Duncan, he'll fire anyway. Kaboom! Fastest to 1,000 triples in NBA history. Duncan Robinson drives and finishes.
Over time, the trend will appear to be linear, but you'll know that it's far from the truth. It's never perfect, it's never a science, but you wouldn't want it to be.
Very nice, very nice.
The Miami Heat are here at NBA Summer League.
These are not glorified practices. These guys are out here fighting for jobs, fighting for their place in the NBA.
Whoa, wow. Robinson, we know he can shoot from downtown, but guess what else, Doug? He can dunk the basketball.
It's clear that you can shoot, but what are you trying to show everybody else that you can do beyond that?
Just that I'm a complete player. I play the right way. I'm unselfish. I play for my teammates, and like you said, I can make shots. But do a little bit more than that. I feel like I'm always capable.
When you hear back that quote from over 6 years ago, what's your reaction, and how does it still remain true for you?
Yeah, when I listen back to that quote, I think if somebody asked me that question today, I'd say something similar. Part of my mindset has always been this idea of self-improvement, understanding that you're never a finished product, no matter if you're a 24-year-old rookie playing in Summer League for the first time, or you're a 30-year-old seventh-year player still trying to leave his mark on this league.
Robinson beats Carroll and banks it in. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the new and improved Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson making plays off the dribble again. He's much more than a three-point shooter.
What a move! Oh, Duncan Robinson!
This is the guy that's been in the lab, right?
I'm always trying to strive for more and never be satisfied with, one version of myself as a player.
Duncan Robinson, what a story he's been. Started his career in Division III.
When I was at Williams, my goal was to just, be the best version of myself, wearing that jersey. And that afforded me other opportunities. I was able to transfer, obviously, and play at Michigan.
Duncan Robinson, now number 10 all-time in Michigan history in triples made.
I feel forever indebted not only to that school, but particularly Coach Beeline. He gave a Division III kid who didn't have a single scholarship 12 months prior an opportunity to play in the Big Ten. And I combined that, with just this drive and hunger I had to improve.
On the deck goes Robinson. Robinson, ring it up! Another three!
Very grateful for my time at Michigan, and obviously that was the springboard that gave me the opportunity to play Summer League with the Heat as well.
Your thoughts on getting to sign an official NBA contract?
I'm just excited, incredibly fortunate, unbelievable organization. Words can't quite put it into perspective. It's an incredible blessing.
My first year with the Heat, being on a two-way contract, it was one of the early years of a two-way contract, so I never got to practice with the team. All my days that I used were actually game days because they needed me for back of the bench depth. So every day I would come in before anyone got there, get my lift in, get my workout in on the court. And quite honestly, it was a lonely year in some respects, living in hotels, living out of suitcases. My time in Sioux Falls was an amazing experience.
And you gotta find that man in transition. Duncan Robinson for three.
I can't say enough about the coaching staff there that really poured into me and believed in my development. So no matter where I was, whether I was getting a lot of opportunity in Sioux Falls or basically just kind of observing everything here with the Heat, was just trying to be a sponge and learn as much about this game, the professional game at the NBA level and what it was going to require to, stick around.
You guys excited to surprise him?
So excited.
Yeah.
So over the moon. Big day.
That's what my
mask off? Breathe a little bit. How are we feeling?
Feeling great.
Feeling great.
Heat forward Duncan Robinson making NBA history this week by signing the richest deal ever in the association for an undrafted player.
Thank you guys. You want to come over here in front of the contract, or the contract?
Yeah, wherever you tell us to go.
God, I kind of want to let you cry a little bit.
I still do.
In 2021, you got a big contract. What was the significance for you at that point?
It was a very significant moment for a lot of reasons. It felt like at the time it was a culmination of all this sacrifice, all this time, all this energy that I had put into this sport that I've loved, for as long as I can remember. I think it was particularly special because it was something that I shared with so many people that I had embarked on that journey with. The same way I made sacrifices, they've made sacrifices. My parents, my siblings, driving all around the country, sometimes to watch me play, 5 minutes in the second half of a game. To be there and to sign that contract and have them there was incredibly special.
He's a very deserving young man. He's a great professional, so it's been a pleasure. Really been a pleasure for us. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So grateful.
Yeah. Seriously.
I've since learned that was just a reference point along, this journey. And while it was a special one and one that I look back on with a ton of gratitude, it was also sort of an inflection point in other ways. It posed new challenges I had to overcome in this other chapter of my career. I've felt the most gratified when I'm in pursuit of something, and I've felt the most fulfilled when I give it everything that I have.
The cutter Duncan from Bam. That's pretty work by Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson, penetrator and playmaker.
Robinson takes in. Kaboom! The man is back in the saddle. The greatest three-point shooter in Heat history.
The great rewarding aspect of on any journey, whether it's professional sports, whether it's a business venture, is hitting these seemingly dead ends and finding a way to find and create a new pathway. And that's really what my journey, I feel, has really been all about, is finding this roadblock and finding a solution.
Duncan long through. Kaboom! Oh, when you need him most, he's there.
The same way that shooting is a skill or dribbling a ball is a skill, I think this idea of resiliency and stick-to-itiveness is a skill as well. And it's something that I know I've gotten better at throughout my career. And now I think it's one of my greatest assets as a player, is that regardless of the circumstances laid in front of me, I feel like I can find a way. For me, when I look back on my first year and I watch some of those games, the way I was guarded the first 7 months of that season, teams were basically letting me shoot open shots, catch and shoot threes that I just don't get anymore. When I would come off a handoff, and we would mostly just do handoffs for me my first year, and I would get to this spot on the floor, and as I would come off, Bam would have a free crack at the guy guarding me, and Bam's man would oftentimes be dropped all the way around the dots or the charge circle, maybe at the most the free throw line. That's about as high up as they would go. And as I would come off, it would basically just be a free shot.
Duncan Robinson makes it a 20-point Miami lead.
Coming off this handoff, the progression slowly became that big guarding Bam was up more at the point of the screen, trying to disrupt that initial catch so I can't come off and just shoot it right away. A lot of times that's either pushing the ball to the top, trying to create a little bit more space, sort of string that action out, putting his man in a little bit more of a predicament. And that's where that either pocket pass would come in or that over-the-top pass would come in. We have 4 people to their 3 on the backside, something we call an advantage. Top blocking is basically trying to wipe a shooter or a player out from getting into the action. A lot of times I'll start in the corner for possessions, and teams will find a way to just send everything down away from where the ball is, away from where the action is. I've found one thing that I really like to do, especially when Bam is is dribbling the ball is kind of circling under and setting a ball screen on Bam. Now that's an inverted pick and roll, a smaller player setting it for a bigger player. But what I can sometimes do is screen my man and screen my man into Bam's man. And as a result, he's able to get to the hoop.
Duncan Robinson right here returning the favor for Bam, setting the screen.
I've had to find ways to be more creative to still be able to shoot threes because I understand that's also a skill set that I'm bringing to a team. And that's been a fun challenge for me, constantly trying to navigate those dynamics of how teams have guarded me.
The moment you think you have stuff figured out, is the moment you'll be quickly reminded that this is a savage competitive league. And the nature of this is the person sitting next to you could be the one that takes away your opportunity.
I've really tried to find my voice in my way.
Damn, you get downfield! Come on, kill it! Come on! I hit it right there.
I'm not always gonna be the loudest, but I still feel that I can find a way, to lead in my own way. We talk a lot about leadership at all levels, and that leadership is gonna look different for different people. For me, a big part of it is relationships and trying to connect with people.
Yes! Yes! That's good execution. That's good execution.
In terms of being more and more vocal, I've just gotten more and more comfortable. This is year 7 for me wearing this jersey, which I'm incredibly grateful for and definitely don't take for granted. So I just want to try to find a way to really also pay it forward to younger guys. Maybe a younger player who's questioning confidence or a younger player who's trying to find his way, within an offense or a defense and how he can be impactful.
Get him out! Get him out! Get him out! You guys get out too! You get out too!
It's been a great joy of mine to be able to kind of give back in that way because I had players, older than me when I was coming up, do those same sorts of things. So it's definitely a responsibility that I feel. The mental side of this game in particular, when you're competing at the highest level, is such an important piece.
Duncan will get it to go. 12 points for him.
2 or 3 years ago, that was not even in Duncan Robinson's arsenal. He has really stepped up his game.
He's just such a hard worker. He's always dedicated to his craft. 2-3 years ago, he was almost fully out of the rotation, and he just never let it get to him. His mentality, his mental was always strong, and I always told him I appreciate him for that.
There's been so many challenges throughout my career. There's been different forms of adversity. I like to differentiate between basketball adversity and real life adversity because I think real life adversity always puts basketball adversity in perspective. When it comes to basketball adversity, I'll speak to that first. Finding a way to sort of live in this in-between, I think has been something that has been of great value to me. And I've also realized that some of my greatest setbacks and most challenging moments throughout my career have come right after some of these great moments of success. And I think that's a way of sort of being humble, whether you call it basketball gods or what. The moment you try to start to think that you have this thing figured out, somebody's gonna bring you back down to earth. So it's those moments where you feel like you're kind of stuck in mud, things aren't coming together, aren't working the way you'd envisioned. You maybe put in all this work and it's not coming to fruition. Building the resolve to kind of work through those moments and use those long plateaus as springboards into future successes, I think is where the magic really lies. Now, being in the stage that I'm at in my career, I have a lot more resources, at my disposal, and being able to talk to professionals has been a huge advantage for me and something that I found a ton of value in, and also finding all these little ways and moments throughout my day to sort of maximize mental clarity, getting up early, getting morning light, these kind of little life hacks that I like to call them, that I've really learned and taken from other people that are far, brighter than myself, and just try to apply it to a day and a routine that works for me. I'm an incredibly routine-oriented person, so when I find something that I like and I make something a part of my routine, it's something that I do every single day. I give a ton of credit to people in my corner, my friends, my family. I found that creating a little space from basketball sometimes has been of great value to me. So much of my day and life has been dedicated to this sport that finding ways to kind of get away has been really valuable, and friends and family help do that. I have other activities that I enjoy. Playing golf is one. One thing I've learned about playing golf, when you're playing golf, if you're not thinking about golf, you're gonna be really bad. So it makes you focus on the task at hand, and finding those ways to just kind of separate yourself has been really valuable.
I've learned a lot from Duncan. He's just such a hard worker. He's always dedicated to his craft.
He had to look at himself in the mirror and evolve, and I feel like he did that in a major way.
To come into work and still be willing to sacrifice and still be ready to put in all that hard work. Not everybody can do it, and he's done it.
That's one of his superpowers, He's super hard on himself. He's his own biggest critic.
I think Duncan has shocked himself. Now he's getting more confidence in himself to where, I'm here. I'm supposed to be in the NBA. People are supposed to know who I am.
Duncan Robinson was out of the rotation, shot over 70% from three in the Milwaukee series. He had 15 the other night. He's got 22 tonight. Duncan Robinson has kept himself ready and made a big impact here in the playoffs.
You can have all the skill in the world, but if you're not able to apply it alongside a mental acuity, a mental focus and approach, it's not going to do you much good. For me, I think they also really work hand in hand. I think confidence is, for me, ultimately bred from putting in work and putting in, knowing that you're prepared for an opportunity. Now, of course, nothing breeds confidence like seeing that work come to fruition.
Nice finish from Duncan Robinson. And that's the part of his game where he's really developed.
It can have a compounding effect once you kind of see all the sacrifices that you've made realized. But understanding that both sides are very important pieces to the puzzle, and that one is not going to be the thing that carries you, but instead a collaboration between the two. I still view myself as very much an unfinished product, and I still see something more for myself than what I've shown thus far in my career.
The big man Duran is on Duncan. He'll fire anyway. Kaboom! Fastest to 1,000 triples in NBA history.
Duncan Robinson drives and finishes. Another tough shot.
Duncan Robinson has been a spark plug in a big-time way.
Coming from the G League to breaking the three-point record to experiencing the finals twice, I feel like that's just been a fairy tale story for somebody like Duncan.
Duncan delivering on the drive. Still among the elite shooters in the game, but so much more to Robinson's game here as he enters year number 7.
Reflecting back on the last 6 seasons that you've had, what are you most proud of?
I would say I'm most proud of how I've handled the setbacks and the adversity. I'm proud that I continued to show up and continued to be the person that I want to be. And that's not to say that I was always. I'm as imperfect as anybody and have really challenging days, but I'm still here, still doing everything I can on a day-to-day basis to pour into this organization and make people around me proud.
Send it inside, Drew. Inside. You're good. And you gotta go. Oh, thought it was. Thought I was gonna reverse it.
He is just such a talented basketball player. His ability to handle the basketball and his creativeness to get angles and get shots up. There's always a threat on the floor.
Duncan Robinson, he throws Javonte Green with that hesitation dribble.
Oh, he got a big smile on his face there.
He's dedicated to the team. He's dedicated to his work. He's dedicated to being a pro's pro. He's developed with his perseverance into becoming one of the most skilled offensive players in this league. There's not a whole lot he can't do now.
Duncan hitting the reverse. Oh, Mr. Outside has become Mr. Inside for Miami.
I always try to find ways to get like competitive little victories within this scope of working hard. I think the beauty of now being a professional is we're able to be so regimented, and we're able to wake up every day, and our really only responsibility is how can I maximize myself as a player today, and how can I help, the Miami Heat, try to win a championship and improve today. It's this sort of juxtaposition between taking this 10,000-foot view, but really locking in on the day-to-day.
A lovely dish for a Duncan dunk.
That's the sign of a real pro right there. You're constantly getting better. You're constantly realizing what your team is going to need of you this upcoming season. He's deserved everything that he's gotten up to this point. I think he's going to continually do that and surprise a lot more people.
Duncan Robinson drives and finishes.
I am so impressed with the improvement by Duncan Robinson off the dribble. He has not just lived behind the three-point line.
Here's Drew Smith. Now to Duncan with 10 on the shot clock. Got the paint, got the basket.
As you're mastering whatever it is that you're in pursuit of, there's these long plateaus, these setbacks, and then these springboards to these future successes. And it's just this continuous cycle. And as you go and as you can continue to commit yourself to something over time, the trend will appear to be linear, but you'll know, and people around you who are on your journey know that it's far from the truth.
Everyone from the outside has this, misconception that, you're building and stacking days, which you are, but that doesn't mean that, one day becomes easier, as you, stacking them.
He puts in the work, and so I just consistently see him get better on a day-to-day basis.
He's always, year after year, showing a little improvement or a drastic improvement in something that he wants to get better at.
Robinson the move on Doncic. Robinson takes it hard to the rack.
I keep a clear focus on my goal, mostly from having a clear definition of what it is. And it's really simple. It's to be in constant pursuit of the best version of myself. Wrapping your mind around this sort of big picture approach of what you could be if you take a more zoomed in approach on the day-to-day. I've always just found this quest for self-improvement to be the be-all end-all. Want more from the squad? Keep it locked on the Heat YouTube channel.